5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Good morning, everybody. As you can see, we're a bit green today. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody around the world. Of course, everybody, especially in Ireland. I thought I'd celebrate. I thought I'd make it a bit green here today. Why not? And look, today is going to be a big and busy show. We're going to be running through the Real Betis game from last night. 1-0 winners, 5-1 on aggregate through to the Europa League quarterfinals. We're going to speak through the big updates that came yesterday around the Qatari bid to buy Manchester United after Sheikh Jassim's delegation was at Manchester United at Old Trafford for 10 hours yesterday. Very positive is how those talks have been described. Jim Ratcliffe, about 10-15 minutes ago, met Richard Arnold at Old Trafford. The Ineos delegation is there too. I thought it was going to slow down. I really genuinely did think it was going to slow down. I got that completely wrong because it seems to be speeding up. But look, good morning to everybody around the world. Paul, it was a good question there saying, Sam, where's the new mask? Right. So I ordered the new masks, but they sent them without the eyes in. So I said, no, I want the eyes in. So now I'm getting the ones with the eyes sent. So they're a little bit delayed. I've got a box of new masks on the floor there that I can't use. So Ten Hag's had an extra week on the mannequin. But good morning to everybody. Morning to you, Teresa, over there. Good morning to you, Joseph. Good morning to you, Robert, Ines, Daisy, Gwynfor, Ash. Ash? I keep saying Ash. Maybe I'm thinking Ash is watching as well. And you're there as well. Gary, Josh, good morning to the whole gang. Steve Hawk, I can see you there as well. It's going to be a good show today. It's going to be a good show. Maddie's watching live. Yes. Tuned in on St. Paddy's Day as well. It's a celebration for everybody. Friday vibes. Oh, you can let me know what you think in the comments below. Last night was, I enjoyed the game last night. And I hope you enjoy the overlay. So make sure you let me know what you think throughout the show. But let's dive straight into this one. Before I do start, I want to say that a podcast was released yesterday. That's not exactly the best way to show it. Let me zoom in a little bit there. There we go. Podcast was recorded last night. Me, Bao, and Neil after the game. If you want to listen to it, it's on Spotify. It's on Amazon. It's on Apple. It's on Google. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, it's available. We run through, because I was feeling sorry for myself after my birthday weekend last weekend. We didn't do one on Sunday night. So we covered the Southampton game, that red card to Casemiro, and that game last night, and the Fulham game, and the Qatari takeover. So much stuff in a half an hour conversation. So yeah, if you'd like to listen to that, that's available over there. But let's speak about this game last night, right? What did you think about it? What did you think about the game? What did you think about the performance? What did you think about individuals? What would you say are the main talking points? I'll run through all of those with you in the comments this morning. Let me pull this up here so I don't miss anything. So I can say, wow, geez, man, that's incredible. Dean, that is wild. See what I did there? See what I did there? That requires a bit of a gong shi. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Mate, Dean, legend. Thank you so much, man. St. Paddy's Day. Must have that. Must have those Irish vibes in you. Matt Frost. Tell you what, I'm going to be speaking about that a little bit later in the show. Maguire was quite impressive. I think just overall that game yesterday didn't need to be anything but a professional performance, right? We did all the hard work in the first leg. And normally when you say that, it doesn't particularly end up being that way. But it pretty much did. First half, I have to give credit to Real Betis. I think they were pretty good over both legs. I thought Real Betis were a good team. I mean, what, they're fifth in La Liga. They got results against Real Madrid and Barcelona this year. They're a decent team. But United, after that Rashford goal, we were in cruise control from that point on. And it was great to see. That situation is exactly why Erik Ten Hag starts his strongest players, because he wants to be in that situation where he can bring Rashford off. He can bring Bruno off. He can bring Martinez off. He can rest those players. Job done. Rather than starting your weaker players, letting Betis score a goal, maybe even 2 goals, and all of a sudden United are chasing and the crowd's G'd up. Because that crowd was good. It was a good stadium. It was a good... It might not have been... That's the way I described that performance yesterday. It might not have been the most entertaining... all guns blazing performance, but it was I'll be honest, it was pretty entertaining. From front to back, both teams attacking, neither team really sitting defensive. And we could have and probably should have had a couple more chances in the first half. Pellistri hitting the post, Weghorst like inches away from it. We'll speak about Pellistri in a minute, but we got to speak about Marcus Rashford first. I think so anyway. Because Marcus Rashford, in the space of around about 2.5, 3 minutes, had 2 gilt-edged chances at which you would go, mate, you would back Rashford all day long to definitely get them on target and probably score, given the form he's in. But he'd missed both of them. And you're thinking, maybe he's having an off day. and then 30 seconds later, scores an absolute pile driver from like 35 yards with his right foot, curls right into the bottom corner, hits the side netting. An absolute worldie of a goal. So much more difficult than the 2 chances he just missed. It's like fair play to Marcus Rashford, man. And Erik ten Hag spoke about his mentality after the game, and that's something I want to speak about here. But wow, Teresa, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Teresa. You're getting a gongshi as well. The gongshi. You're right. I do need a bigger gong. What is this? It's embarrassing. I need a bigger gong. Reference to Jaws there. You're going to need a bigger bolt. Big up, Jaws. Cotter, you're saying Rashford didn't want. No, I don't want to tap him, man. Just give me a banger. It was a screamer of a finish. Absolute screamer of a finish. And I think that's Richard, you're saying down there 27 goals for him so far this season. We all spoke about it before. I would love, Kevin Keegan style, for Rashford to get to 40. I don't think that's outside the realms of possibility. How many games have we got left in the league now? Let's have a look. We got what? 9 games left in the league? Something like that. Let's have a look. We played 26. We've got 12. Shit, we've got 12 games left. So we've got 12 games left in the league. We've got a double header in the Europa quarterfinal. So that's 14. Got at least 15 games left this season. At least. And you were back Manchester United to beat Fulham. You were back, well, it depends who you get, I suppose. The draw is at 12 p.m. today. I won't be covering it live because I think it's a bit pointless. They are so boring. When we get to the Champions League, that's when I'll go back to doing my live draws. But you back Man United to be beating Fulham. Hopefully you back Man United to get through those Europa League quarterfinals. So we could have anywhere between 15 and 20 games left this season. And Marcus Rashford is 13 goals off 40? I wouldn't rule it out. I really, really wouldn't rule it out. Dave, you're saying instead of getting a bigger gong, what about sound effect? See, that's the thing at this moment in time, Dave, and I'll explain. It's a very good comment there, and I'll leave this on screen. At this moment in time, with the current software that I use, I'm limited to what I can do. So that's part of that. There's going to be a big old refurb here at United People's TV, and it's going to be in 3 stages. Number 1, which I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, is I'm updating everything that you can't see. All the hardware, everything, the monitors. It's going to be a big old upgrade. So as I've always said, I keep reinvesting everything back into the channel to make it bigger and better. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is going to be a big old software upgrade. And actually, I'll ask now if there's anybody here who's part of the community, because this is something that I find so awesome with the website. We've got a couple of guys from the community now who are coming in and helping create the website. From designers, from podcast, from TikTok videos. They're all members of the community who have come in. If you have any experience in using Streamlabs, now I've used Streamlabs before and I'm pretty tech savvy, but I need some help in getting that done. And once we get to the point where I'm on there, trust me, this whole thing is going to level up significantly. V1, this is United People's TV. V2 is going to be sexy. Sexy AF. William saying, how's the bathroom? The bathroom is now sitting in the living room. And that was a lot of lugging up the stairs. That's a bad thing about living on the first floor. Carrying a toilet up the stairs yesterday. I might have tweaked my back. I'm not sure. Sigmund, you're saying, Sam, are you selling the older stuff? I will be selling the older stuff. I'm going to have to, right? But I don't know about that yet. But look, let's run through this. This is what Erik ten Hag said about Marcus's mentality. He said, look, I think he missed 2 big chances, but he can deal with it. It's important for a striker. You can deal. Not every chance is going to be a goal. He'll always be in that position. He can score, and he has to be focused on that. He keeps trying to get in, and he got his reward. It tells you something about the team performance and something about him. We have discussed a lot about the issue from the start of the season. If Rashford keeps his focus, make sure he has energy, the way we play, the way he has to play, he will come into scoring positions, and then it is about him. And it's something that Neil, I think it was either Neil or Bao, one of the two, mentioned it on the podcast yesterday. I think it's completely spot on. I hadn't really thought about it. Like, what would this Manchester United team, what would we look like if Rashford got an injury right now? Because we are every elite team. If you take Haaland out of City, you take Salah out of Liverpool, you take. Well, I suppose you have taken Gabriel Jesus out of Arsenal. They've done pretty well. But if you take the best goal scorer, the best player out of every team, they are going to be a lesser team. But right now, with Manchester United, Marcus Rashford is that guy. And I don't really know how our attack would look without him. We all know that we need a number 9. Yeah, but we do need other players around him to be chipping in. I don't know where we'd be in the league. John, you're down there saying dread to think. I do dread to think. But Marcus Rashford is on a different level altogether. And I'm just so glad we've got him. So it's mad, isn't it? What was it last year? You're looking at Marcus. I think he got 5 goals in all competitions last year. And you're looking at Rashford. You're like, I mean, is he ever going to? There's something wrong with him. He's done. So many people said. And all of a sudden, we're looking at this Marcus Rashford. And you realize just how much of an impact a coach can have on a player. How circumstances can impact how a player plays. I've always said that players are symptomatic of the clubs they exist in. Right now, Crystal Palace players, well, Patrick Vieira's just got sacked. Guarantee you get a different manager in there. The buzz comes back. All of a sudden, those players who look bang average look significantly better. It's not just because they down tools. It's because football, sport, life, a lot of it is up there. So much of it is up there. And if you can't get that spot on, then everything else becomes more difficult, right? Clarky, how you doing, buddy? You send a super chat. You're saying, heard the Glazers have to sell and can't accept investors because they would have to convert controlling B shares to A shares due to market rules. In my opinion, Clarky, there's a million reasons why actually billions of reasons why the Glazers are going to sell. And it's reached that point. It's that crossroads. They've bled the legacy value dry at Manchester United. They can't continue to get sustained growth at this club off the back of our previous successes. We last won the Champions League in 2008. We last won the league in 2012, man. That legacy value is diminishing. It's diminished to the point now where we're on the downward slope until investment comes in. They can't afford the investment. That's what's happening. That's why we're selling. And at the same time, there's a reason Liverpool are up for sale. United are up for sale. Spurs are looking at investment. Chelsea have just been sold. Chelsea one's a bit different. So many clubs are for sale. There's something going on in the market, and they've realized that the value of clubs might be peaking right now. That's why so many are getting out, right? 2000, I know 2012, 2013. I always say 2012 because the season started in 2012. You know what I mean? 2012, 2013 season, all right? Leave it at that. Let's not get pernickety here, people. Let's not get pernickety. You better than that. But anyway, let's speak about a lad that everybody was excited to see yesterday, right? I think he waited around 900 days for that debut, didn't he? Facundo Pellistri starting for Manchester United yesterday after impressive cameos. What is it, against Forest, against Betis at home? I don't know. I don't know what other ones he had. I think he had one more cameo. I liked what I saw from Pellistri yesterday. It wasn't a perfect performance. Jeez, nobody was expecting a perfect performance. I don't think he was either. But it was in my opinion, it was quite a mature performance from somebody who is making his first start. And this is what Erik ten Hag said about Pellistri after the game. Leeds, of course, that was another cameo. He said it's not. I really like this first line, by the way. He goes, it's not about learning. When you play for United, you have to perform. And he came in a little bit shy. But after you could see he got his belief, he was really in the game. Good actions, good movement in behind. And that was the mark before the game from a tactical approach. Defensively, he did his job really well. And all over, I think it was a good performance. I think he deserved to come on. I see him progressing and getting stronger. Good when he came in against Leeds and Betis in the home game. Got belief and you can see his abilities. I'm very pleased with his performance. And I think Pellistri himself will be happy with his performance, man. I think all of us will. Let's find out what happens against Fulham on Sunday, right? Let me take a quick minute here to speak about this, right? We've won the Carabao Cup. Bag that pot. Yes, please. Done. We're in the FA Cup quarter-final, and it's a home game against Fulham. Now, we play Fulham away this season. We needed that last-minute winner from Garnacho. Not an easy team to play against. I think Paulinho's back, and he's probably their best player in the middle. But United at home this season, our form, you've got to back us to be getting past Fulham. And then we're into the semi-final of the FA Cup. Maybe we draw City. Maybe we don't. Let's find out what goes on there. United get into the last four there. Europa League, we're now into the quarterfinals. I'll run through the list of opponents that we could draw just in a little bit. There's a couple more players I want to speak to you about here this morning. But we're in the last 8, and we're probably favourites for that tournament now. When you look at who's left, maybe you'd say Roma. Really? I mean, Roma are doing okay, I suppose. No one's doing anything compared to compared to Napoli this year, like dominating that league. Juventus, I wouldn't be too scared of getting Juventus at all, man. They're a mid-table team now. United are favourites there. I'm not saying we're going to be getting a domestic cup treble. I'm not saying we're going to be getting a domestic cup treble, but that is what Ten Hag's going to be aiming for, and that's what we're in. We've won one. We're in the quarterfinals of another, and we're in maybe the semi-finals of another, depending on what the result is on Sunday. It's fantastic. It really, really is. Ray, you're down there. Thank you very much for Super Chat, dude. You're saying, I like what I saw from his first start. I liked what I saw from his first start, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Premier League, maybe from a start. And if he starts, it depends on whether Anthony is fit, right? If Anthony is fit, and because he was out with illness, wasn't he? If Anthony is fit to start against Fulham, I imagine Anthony comes back in that team. But I don't know whether he's going to be. Let's find out about it. Somebody who I think deserves, quite a few of you mentioned it in the comments right there, and I think let's take 30 seconds to moan about this, because you're right. How was Pellistri given a yellow card there in that first half? Ball's in front of him, very committed tackle, not no feet sliding at all. Got the ball, a good second, or not a second, but he got it way before the Real Betis player, gets clobbered by the Real Betis player, and gets a yellow for his troubles. Not his troubles. It's madness. It's mad. At every single game, there's one of those decisions where you look at and you go, really? And I called it incredulous because it was an outrageous call. It really, really was an outrageous call. But I want to take a quick minute or two here to speak about our defence. Speak about Martinez was the player who I focused on. And I'll speak about Maguire in a little bit, because I think I probably was a little bit unfair on Maguire by not speaking about him. But Martinez, for me as a fan watching United, Martinez gives me so much confidence when we're playing out from the back with the ball. More confidence than any other player. Whenever the ball is given to him, I know that he's going to make the right decision. I know that if he wants to, he can probably skip past the player, a little shoulder feint, create a yard of space, and he can find that space to bring that ball forward and progress it up the pitch. He's just a wonderful man. He really, and I've definitely got red tinted specs on, because my man crush on Martinez is as strong as it ever was. And it was, as much as I love Casemiro, I can't look past Martinez as our player of the season. I really, really can't. I know. I probably should. But Maguire, right? I've said this a million times here on United People's TV. And still I get accused of it. I've got no agenda against any player at Manchester United. I want what is best for my football club. And you know full well, out of any player in this squad, nobody has received more criticism than Harry Maguire from me. I think I did 3 videos last year. I remember them. We need to talk about Maguire. We need to talk about Captain Harry Maguire, and then something about him moving on. I think Maguire's gone in the summer, right? I think Maguire's going to be moved on in the summer, but I have to say, he did play pretty well yesterday. I don't know what was different about it. Don't know whether it was because we were playing Real Betis and they were leaving space, but you saw more of the Maguire runs from deep, pushing up. Those sort of runs he makes for Leicester and for England, where he brings the ball up 15, 20 yards and he can find a nice little pass. He's comfortable enough doing that. Just rarely really see that at United. I think Maguire played well. Obviously, he got exposed when Wan-Bissaka left him isolated. Wan-Bissaka pushed forward. We lost the ball where we shouldn't do. One ball in behind, and then Maguire's running through treacle. Yeah, that's always going to be a problem because his pace is absolutely horrendous. And it's always why I've always felt that he would never suit a Ten Hag system because of the high line that Eric plays. And it's situations like that, you see that. But fair play to Maguire. And Maguire said this after the game as well. Let me pull this up full screen for you. He said, I have an important role on and off the pitch at this club. Every day I try to contribute to the success, and whether I play or not, that is my priority right now. It's, I don't know. My opinion on Harry Maguire hasn't changed in terms of how I think he suits this system. And he doesn't. And he never will. But credit to him, because he hardly played this season, and I thought he played pretty well yesterday. Right? I thought he played pretty well. I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments out. Let me get this super chat done. Daniel, how you doing, buddy? You're saying, I'm watching from the US of A. Usually can't watch your live stream, but I'm up early for a flight. Love your content and kit. Thank you very much, dude. I hope you have a safe flight. Had two of my friends who I drove to Heathrow on, what was it? Wednesday? 5 hours it took me to go there and back. But big up to Ben and Dave, who are now enjoying a 3-week trip in Japan. Now that I am very jealous of. I love traveling. I don't get to do enough of it now. It's all coming. The masks. Eric's been there for a good while now. He's just like camped in a corner. The masks are coming next week, I promise. It's just been a little bit of a delay for them. Now, let me go down to here and see what you're saying about Maguire. Giblix, you're saying Maguire played okay. Still has plenty of liable moments. He gets 5 or a 6 at most from me. Okay, fair enough. Thapello saying, Sam, you're very fair. I remember how you didn't praise Wan-Bissaka because he wouldn't. Hey, look. Wan-Bissaka is, if anybody's made me eat humble pie, it's Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I gave him 0 chance of succeeding under Ten Hag, and he's proved me wrong. I don't think Maguire's going to change that view. I think Maguire is still going to be sold in the summer, but I think Maguire is going to go on and be a good centre-back in the Premier League for someone else. I'm pretty confident about that. Pretty confident. Syed, you said you just bought 5 raffles. For everybody make sure you enter that. Next month, the plan is to do, so basically the raffle for the PS5 was a bit of it's not a tester, but just to test the water, see how the community responded, and you've responded brilliantly. So next month, the prize is going to be even bigger. And I'm going to try and do that now every single month. Just make the prize bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because it's my way of giving back to the community. You can help the channel too. It's only £1 a ticket. Someone's probably going to win a PS5 for £1. I mean, someone will. That's the whole logic, right? Ricky, how you doing, buddy? You're saying, Sam, with FFP, how much do you think we'll actually be able to spend in the summer? Ricky, I can't say that with any confidence off the top of my head. I'm going to have to do some deep diving into the numbers. And at this moment in time, I haven't been able to. Now, I know full well that we've got losses in the region of 200 million over our last 3 years in the accounts. That's going to have a knock-on effect. But the one thing we are doing right this summer, and in my opinion, and then going back to this lad here, Man United will be selling much better. This summer, this is my prediction for the transfer window. This summer is where Man United are going to make good money from player sales. I reckon we could be looking in the region of 100 million from Maguire, Martial. Those two there should be easily in excess of 50 million. And then there are others that you can offset. Jones, Henderson, Telles, and there's more you can put inside that category. I think this summer is where Manchester United will be making good money from player sales, and that is going to directly impact the amount of money we can spend. So it's kind of hard to predict, because I think there's going to be an influx of cash that will help us for the first time in a long old time. Quick note down here. Let me read a couple of your comments out. Ryan, you're saying you can't see Maguire going. Lindelof is a better player, will cost less money, ask for less wages, and is just... I'm guessing you mean you can't see Maguire staying. Yeah, Lindelof is a better player. Phil Foster saying Raffle House. Little dollhouse. All right, fair enough. Raffle House. Or you're saying no way someone pays north of 50 mil for Maguire and Martial. I'm not saying 50 mil each. I'm saying, in my opinion, Maguire, United can reasonably expect to get in the region of 40 mil for Maguire. And Martial, somewhere between 20 and 30, I think. I think both of those would be pretty fair prices. Maguire at least 40, in my opinion. experienced, international experience. He might not work at United, but he will work somewhere else. He will be a good centre-back somewhere else. That I have absolutely no doubt. It just won't be at United. By the way, in the second half, how good was Casemiro? How good is Casemiro? I don't know how we're going to cope with him in these next 4 games domestically. We're looking at Sabitzer. Sabitzer came on. Nice cameo from him. Playing in a different sort of role than how you'd want him to if he's going to be replacing Casemiro. Sabitzer is a really good... So I keep saying this, right? I made the unfair comparison. It wasn't really a comparison per se, but I said, look, we needed a striker and we couldn't afford one, so we got Weghorst on loan. I said we needed a centre-back. Sorry, we needed a central midfielder and we couldn't afford one, so we got Sabitzer on loan. That's pretty much where the similarities in their deals go, because Sabitzer is a player in his prime. Was he 28, 29? He's in the prime of his career. He's not really going to be a Casemiro replacement. He's not going to be that guy who sits deep, slots in between the 2 centre-backs, picks the ball up, moves it around. That's where McTominay is going to have to up his game. I imagine you're probably going to be looking at McTominay and Sabitzer as a midfield duo over these next few games. McTominay and Fred just doesn't work. Fred and Sabitzer, I think there's a little bit too much of a lack of control in that. So from a balance perspective, I think McTominay and Sabitzer would probably blend the best. Let's find out in these next few games. But after his performance there and Casemiro being suspended, I imagine we're going to be seeing him start against Fulham on Sunday. Let me go down here and see what you're saying in the comments. Ash Piper saying, I love Phil Jones. How has he survived since Fergie? I don't know. That's one of the greatest mysteries in football ever. This season is where is Phil Jones? Seriously, I've not seen him in one training photo. No one ever speaks about him. It's like taboo. Where is Phil Jones? Somebody find Phil Jones. Seriously. Zim, you're speaking about Ratcliffe and Old Trafford. Yep. We've got a couple more minutes speaking about the game last night, and then we're moving on to the big talking point today, which is about the Qatari delegation yesterday and the Ineos delegation being at Old Trafford today. All that to come. So make sure you stick around. And if you can, drop a like on the video. But I've got no idea what Phil Jones is. By the way, listen to this, right? First of all, how cool is that photo? I said this in the match reaction yesterday. Really cool photo. Really nice camera. Wish I had a camera that good. Anyway. This stat will blow your mind. It blew my mind. Bruno Fernandes has played the most minutes of any player in Europe's top 5 leagues this season, including all goalkeepers. That doesn't make any sense. Well, it does make sense. Like, Bruno's constantly played. Bruno has played more minutes than any goalkeeper, let alone outfield player, in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. That is how much football Bruno has been playing. It's staggering how fit he is. It really, really, like, his ability to recover is, it's like he's a cyborg or something like that. It's not natural. I don't know how he does it. I really, really don't. He got taken. I'll be honest. Yesterday, when I saw his name come up on the subs board, I was like, oh, thank God for that. Because I just didn't want like a tired yellow card where he sort of lunges in for attack. And I'm like, oh, no. But Bruno Fernandes, absolutely phenomenal. And I will staunch it. He deserved huge criticism. Slap him upside the head after what he did against Liverpool at Anfield. I don't think we'll ever see that again. And I imagine he's pretty embarrassed about that, just like every single one of those players should be. But because Bruno wore the armband, you get more hypercriticism, and that's deserved. I did the same thing with Bruno. Sorry, with Maguire. But I can't believe that. That's such a mad stat. That really is such a mad stat about Bruno. Love the bloke. Really, really do. Let's move on to this bit now, right? Who do you want? So these are the 8 names, the 8 teams in the quarterfinal draw for the Europa League. United are there. Sporting Lisbon are there. Not Arsenal, shall I say. I can't believe it took me half an hour to mention that. They're going to win the Premier League, so I can't really say too much about them. I'll be completely honest. But still, shambles. Shambles. They don't even have a mad schedule. Anyway, United are in the pot. Sporting are. Arsenal aren't. Juventus are in there. AS Roma. We've got Sevilla, Feyenoord, who absolutely spanked Shakhtar Donetsk 7-1. Bayer Leverkusen and Union Saint-Gilloise. Gilloise? Union Saint. SG. Don't know. Team from Belgium. We'll call them that. I pretty much know which team you want, but you can let me know in the comments. Let's have a look down here. Dave, you want Feyenoord. Jason, you want Sporting Lisbon. Mikhail, you want Union. Mario, you want Seville. So does Michael. Man, another trip to Seville? Chris, you want to take on Jose? I don't want to take on Jose because he would be the king of the shit house. He absolutely would be the king of the shit house. And you want Juventus? Man, I tell you what, Juventus are not what your all memories and your thoughts of Juventus. That ain't it. Juventus are a mid-table team this season. Absolutely a mid-table team. I'll be completely honest. I definitely want United to get Union Saint-Gilloise. I want that team from Belgium. Of course I do. Absolutely. The toughest draw? Okay, like everybody put it in the comments now. What do you think is the hardest draw out of those 8? Obviously, it would have been Arsenal if Arsenal was still... It would have been Arsenal if they were still in it. I'm probably saying that Roma's going to be the toughest out of those. I think it strikes me that Roma would be the toughest. It's either Roma or Sevilla. You know what Sevilla's record is like in the Champions League. But I tell you what, Sporting Lisbon. Did you watch the game yesterday? Sporting Lisbon were good. They played good. They didn't. Like Arsenal, yeah, they might not have played their whole first string team, but they were playing good football. And that goal that they scored. Going down here, lots of you are saying Roma would be the toughest team. Marcelo, you're saying Sevilla. Clive, you're saying Sporting. It's going to be one of those 3, isn't it? Sporting, Roma, or Sevilla. If United don't need to avoid any team. If you're looking at that pot, everybody wants to avoid us. We're the team that everyone wants to avoid, and you have to have that confidence going into every single time. We're probably favourites. If I was to go now and look on Bet365, and I looked at the odds for winning the Europa League, I imagine United are topping that. Nobody will want to play us. And look, we've come for if we've beaten Barcelona over 2 legs, the number 1 team in Spain, the toughest possible draw we could get from that, then we can beat any of those teams. And Budapest, baby. I need to start booking my flights. Woo! Can't wait for that. I hope I haven't spoiled it there. I hope I haven't cursed it. But look, the draw is up at 12 p.m. UK time. I won't be live. Maybe I can do a little short video on it. I don't really know. But we'll find out who we get. I'd like us to get Union Saint-Gilloise. But let's find out who we get. Right, let's move on to the biggest part of the show today. I keep saying it, like we can talk about football all we want, right? We can talk about all the games. Nothing is more important than a takeover of Manchester United. Now, I've been sort of saying, and this has always been my instinct, I thought it was kind of going to slow down a little bit. When it got to this stage and the meetings had taken place, I expected the full due diligence to take a bit longer. However, if anything, it's accelerated because I don't think that complete due diligence is happening at this point. But anyway, let me run through all the updates for you, and then I'll head down to the comments. So all the news came out yesterday just after the game that the Qatari delegation were in Manchester at Old Trafford and Carrington for 10 hours yesterday. Meetings were described as positive. Now, I remember seeing this in real time. It was Simon Stone who led with it. Then Matt Lawton from the Times came out with it. Then Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail, all saying the exact same thing. Talks went on for 10 hours. They were all very positive, and that second bid is coming in. This is what Mike Keegan is saying. I would use the Daily Mail website, but you know full well, every single time I use that absolutely abysmal website, it messes the microphone up. It's such a naff website. Talk about advert overloading. Seriously. Anyway, look, talks with Qatari Group lasted 10 hours. There was a big focus, understandably, on the financial side of things. Unclear how many more rounds to come. The second bid is incoming, and they remain determined. So let's read through this full article here from the Times, from Matt Lawton, on the improved offer. How much do you think that's going to be? This is all completely just our interpretation. There's no in the know here. There's no knowledge. But if the first indicative offer was somewhere in the region of 4 to 4.5 billion, and the second, well, not the second, the bid that the Glazers actually want is 6 billion. Where do you reckon this is going to fall in? Is it going to fall somewhere in the middle? I imagine it will. Let me run through this article here, and then I'll head back down to the comments. The Qataris bidding to buy Manchester United will now table a second improved offer for the club after positive talks with officials at Old Trafford. Representatives acting for Sheikh Jassim held detailed financial discussions at the stadium before they got a tour of Carrington. 10 hours of talks, by the way. That's a long old that's a long old talk. That is a long old chat. I suppose if you are about to buy something that's going to be in the region of £5 billion, I imagine 10 hours is pretty fair. Robert, you think you're going for 5.25. Pete, you're going for 5.5. 5.5 says Akil. 4.7, 5.5, 5.2, 4.9. I reckon you've got to be looking around the 5 billion mark, right? Seems like a compromise, a middle ground between the two. 10 hours of talks. Jeez. United's New York bankers. This is the part that sort of kind of surprised me a little bit. Your New York bankers have informed the buyers they want that second bid within 10 to 14 days. And that's the interesting part because, as I said, if we're looking at the original deadline, the Q1 deadline, well, we could well get that bid in, and maybe a deal could be, maybe not a deal agreed. But if these bids go, hypothetically, this goes according to this timeline we're hearing, 10 days, right? If that bid goes in within the next 10 days, that means on the 27th of March, the Glazers will have the bids in front of them. They then take a day or two to think about it, mull it over, see which one they want the most. We could very well, by the end of Q1, by the end of March, have a period of exclusivity where the Glazers go, right, thanks for the offers. Qatari or Ineos, we're going with you. All right. You've now got X amount of weeks to give us your firm and final offer, and then we can agree the deal. So while it might not be completed by the end of March, we are on track by the end of March for a deal to be in place. It doesn't mean that the keys are handed over, that the handshakes are done, but that would be a big, big step. And a big step that happened yesterday is we got some names. Now, I'm going to do some research into this because, look, we found out that Shazad Shabazz is going to be the president of the 9-2 Foundation. And Fadi Bakos, the Sheikh's senior personal advisor, was there. Sam Powers, who's a global head of technology at, Bank of America. Some names have been dropped, right? So what I'm going to do today, for today's video, I'm going to speak to the man himself, Ben Jacobs. We're going to have a chat around about 1 p.m. to get the sort of inside story into really what happened yesterday, and also to get some information on these people, because we've got to understand that. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Next 2 weeks, there's no football. Really gives me an opportunity here on United People's TV to focus on the research videos, the in-depth videos. So I'm going to be doing lots of stuff. I'm going to do a video on the Qatari ownership of PSG. What happened in that first year? Who did they sack? Who did they hire? What happened in the first 5 years? How much did they spend? Did it work? Lessons that we can learn from that. I'm going to do videos on Ineos and Nice. And I want to do a video on the 9-2 Foundation and these names, right? Because we need to know as much information as possible about the identities of whoever is involved in any potential takeover of Manchester United. And that's where we move on to what is happening today, right? Because right here, you've got, let me mute that. I don't need that. That's Richard Arnold there shaking the hand of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his delegation at Old Trafford. He's arrived. So right now, as we're speaking here live and direct, we've got Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. They are at Old Trafford and they are starting their day of talks and negotiations with Manchester United. A photo here of Jim Ratcliffe shaking hands with Richard Arnold, meeting him outside Old Trafford. And it's going to be really easy. It's going to be really interesting to see how this develops. Do you think, a random question here, just something I thought about. Do you think there's any advantage to the Qatari delegation having those conversations first, or does it not really matter? I think it's, Lee, you've just mentioned it down there. You're saying it's interesting that Sir Jim has turned up personally. I think that's, I'll be honest, I think it's a smart move. I think it's a smart move by them because Jim Ratcliffe knows that a key component of his bid is there is part of the United fan base that want him because of his ties to the club, and physically being there, that helps with the image of it. And I don't mean to say that from a cynical perspective, but you know, they're billionaires, man. They have PR firms, they have smart people that know about images and what images can do and how they can sway public opinion. So Jim Ratcliffe there, I'm being cynical to say it's for that reason, but also his company, which he owns, is in the process of potentially buying something for $5 billion, right? Even if it wasn't Man United, it was some other random petrochemicals company, he would also be there for that. So I'm not saying he's just doing it because it's Manchester United and it's just for the cameras, because he'd do that with any sort of purchase of $5 billion. The owner of any business would do that, right? But it is smart. Those photos will probably help his bid somewhat. You know full well that at the very start, I was totally Jim Ratcliffe. I was totally Ineos. And right at the beginning, when the Dubai stories were coming out, and I remember that, I'll always remember that chat with Nicholas McGinn. I still haven't followed that up with sort of conversations from the other perspective. And again, that's probably what I can do over these next 2 weeks. So if anybody's got any good suggestions for any interviews, people you think I should be speaking to, slide into my DMs. Instagram's always open. Twitter is always open. Like, you can always fire it. And sometimes I take those ideas on board. I don't take every idea on board, but I do listen to you. I'll be interested to see how these talks go today, because as we saw from yesterday, the talks went well, right? The Qatari talks, the Sheikh Jassim delegation, the talks went well. 10 hours they were there. Now, Jim Ratcliffe, it is over to you and Ineos to see if you can have the same sort of positive conversations. And I've no doubt that probably at the end of it, both of them submit an improved offer. We know full well that the financial structure of the Ineos takeover of Manchester United, it simply can't compete with the Qatari bid. And I mean from a structure perspective. In terms of, realistically, that the Qataris probably do have more dispensable cash to put into it as well, because Ineos are doing this from a business perspective. They're going to need that return on investment. They're not just, I'm not saying that the Qataris don't. But I think Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe will be a little bit more wary of the numbers and the bottom lines than the Qatari bid. And that's just my own personal interpretation. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Lee Welch, you're talking about where the money's coming from. The money is coming, well, the Qatari bid. I believe the money is tied into Sheikh Jassim's family. His father, the former prime minister. I think the private wealth is coming from that barrel rather than Sheikh Jassim himself. Michael, you're saying, how about an interview with the Nice fan club to see their thoughts on him as an owner? That's a really good idea. If anybody knows any, I can do some research myself, or I can hand it over to Dan, the community manager. Big up to Dan. That's a good idea. I've already done quite a bit on Nice. I've already done a deep dive into it, but it might be good to hear from a fan's perspective. Let me see what you're saying down there. Matt Frost talked to Sir Alex. So imagine getting Sir Alex on here. That'd be amazing. Or there's no... I wonder if I would. Look, of course I would. If I had the opportunity to interview Avram or Joel Glazer, I would. But I can't imagine they'd stick around. I imagine that'll be an interview where they do a Piers Morgan and they just storm off the set. There's no way they'd stick around for me. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Van, you're saying you're hi from Singapore. Finally managed to join in the live chat. How you doing, buddy? James, you're saying Jim seems more practical and isn't an unlimited purse. I don't think either of them have got an unlimited purse. There will be limits on how much the Qataris are willing to pay for the club. They're not just going to pay 10 billion. Why not? We don't care about money. Of course they care about money. They might have a lot of it, but they care about it. Rich people care about their money. Just like just everybody cares about their money. So they're not just going to put a random number on it just to get the club. It has to match their own valuations. And that's what those 10 hours really were all about yesterday. They would have deep dived into the financials. They go, well, how much you want for the club? Right, let me just match that up. Let me see if that's right or wrong. And they're going to they're going to submit an improved offer. There must be some sort of contentment with what the presentations were yesterday. But man, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for new owners. I really, really can't. Can you imagine what's coming up in these next few years? Think about it. Like, we've been crap. We've been crap for so long. Having to watch Liverpool and City be amazing at the same time made it all the worse. But we are now sitting here with the manager that we've been waiting for, with a squad that is getting better and will get better in the summer and every summer from now on. And we're about to get new owners, and we're about to get investment into a new stadium, and we're about to get a new training ground. United are about to be brought into the 21st century, finally. And I can't wait for it. It is so exciting. Linton, you're saying we're going back to the top. I tell you what, other clubs must be absolutely crapping themselves. We're still one of the third. We're still in the top. Man United, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, the three biggest clubs in the world, and we are still there, despite the fact that we haven't won the league title in nearly 10 years, despite the fact that we haven't won the Champions League in 15 years. It's a problem for everybody else if we actually enter this new era of football, this money ball, billionaires playground that football is now. The Premier League has allowed it to manifest itself. And that's what's happening. We've just sat and watched from the sidelines previously, but we're about to go back to that top table. We're about to bring a golden knife and fork, man. I can't wait to start eating. Treasy is saying start organizing that bus tour and don't forget to book Barry. Barry is definitely getting involved in that point. I need to reach out to him. Look, because it's St. Paddy's Day, we'll try and get a few of you on from Ireland. Let me know where you're watching from around the world. You know what the drill is right now. Or maybe you don't if you are new. I'm logged in, aren't I? Let me make sure. There we go. That's a little bit better. Where are you watching from around the world? Right? You let me know the town and the country, and I'll get a few of you added onto the map at the end of the show. Phil O'Brien, you're saying, Sam, would you rebuild Old Trafford in place or move it to the air? I don't personally feel that it's a realistic option to redevelop Old Trafford. We've left it for so long. The reason that Real Madrid are able to do it while still playing there is because they've been maintaining it over the last 15, 20 years, bit by bit, so that the job now, it was possible. Whereas United, the whole infrastructure of Old Trafford, from the seats to the concourses to the toilets, it all needs to be, it's like getting a house, ripping everything out, keeping the structure, and rebuilding it. But at United, the structure itself is a problem. I don't know how we do it. I don't know what we do. It's such a big job. I'd love to keep a connection to Old Trafford, but I just get the feeling, and you might not like it, I just get the feeling that brand new is what is going to suit us best. We're going to be losing a lot of heritage and history, and that hurts. It really does. I just don't know how you sustainably do that rebuild while staying there. And if you can't stay there, where are you going to play for a couple of years? City aren't going to share a stadium. Where else can you go? Exactly. Man, there's so many questions to ask. Let me go down here in... I did see that. Josh talking about the hole in the Emirates roof last night. Very Old Trafford, wasn't it? Very, very Old Trafford. Who's watching? Let me get a few of you on the map. We've got... wicked. Lee Baines watching from Los Cristianos in Tenerife. Enjoy your holiday, my friend. What are you doing watching me? Go to the bar. Los Cristianos. Count it as Rona, Spain? Well, I think that's right. Go on the map anyway. Oh, it is right. Look at that. Phil O'Brien watching from Ballymurn in Wexford. On you go, sir. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Wexford County. All right. And let's get a couple more down here. Let me see where you're watching from. We've got Peter watching from Davao City in the Philippines. Awesome. Davao City in the Philippines. And let's get one more on. We're feeling generous today. It's Friday vibes. It's Friday vibes. Cormac, you're watching from Dublin. We've definitely got Dublin on here. Two of you watching from Dublin. Oh, I'll get Dublin on then. Just I think I'm pretty sure I've got Dublin on here, but it'll be rude not to. Not today. On you go. Welcome aboard. Look at that. What a day for the map. I love. Oh no, Chris, you've sent a super chat. Can't ignore that. Newbridge in County Kildare. I tell you, Ireland's getting plenty of Newbridge in County Kildare. On you go. You're in. What? How many have we got on the map now? 410. 410. It's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Big up to every single one of you who are watching, man. Big up to all of you. There, man. Where do we still need here? We need quite a bit in North Africa, Algeria, all of that. Algeria, Libya, Sudan, Chad, Niger, Mali, Mauritania. We need some in the north of Brazil. Where else do we need? Canada. It's looking a bit bleak up in Canada. And in Russia. Need some in mainland China, some from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. But there's reds around the world, man. Stephen, you're saying, where can we see the map? I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing. I thought about this. I'm going to try and embed the map into the website when we build it. How cool would that be? A map that you can have a look around. We see everybody. But look, last couple of minutes of the show, you can ask me what you want. Any questions about the game last night, about the takeover, anything. The last couple of minutes, I will answer them. And if you can take 1 second now, please do drop a like on the video. I love doing this show. I love this community. I love what we've built here. And we're only just getting started. I say that, and I keep saying that. New website is coming. A newsletter. We're going to be launching a newsletter. Got new merch. I'm wearing a piece of new merch now. Oh. Who do you reckon it is? Oh. That's all you get to see. That's a new piece of merch. I haven't released it yet. I'm not sure when I'm going to, but I'm keeping that little secret. What else have we got? We've got the new studio being built. This whole place is going to get completely redesigned. All in the goodness of time. Ian saying, is a bathroom finished? Man, the bathroom is not even started. We just had to lug it all upstairs yesterday. Osei, you're saying, what did you think about Ten Hag's confidence in Pellistri? I think it's good management, man. I really, really like how Ten Hag has just managed this team this season. I love it, man. He's done so much good. Or you're definitely not watching from North Africa and Canada. When can you win a giveaway? Hey, look, you might win the raffle. Everyone's got a ticket for £1. You might win the raffle. What did I get for my birthday? I bought myself an electric barbecue because I live in a flat, and on the balcony, you're not allowed barbecues and charcoals and fires. So I was like, how do you get around that? I was like, Ninja, they do an electric one. So I bought an electric one. I'm probably still going to get shouted at by the landlord, but sod it. Did it anyway. Alex is saying, Sam, do you think we'll see Mainu at the weekend? A bit disappointed he wasn't in the squad yesterday. I absolutely think we'll see Mainu. And you can be disappointed, but he's broken through into the first team this year. And it'll be I trust Ten Hag to manage his integration. I just trust Ten Hag. I don't think he'll be doing it wrong. How many times do humans sneeze a year, says Josh, coming out with the big questions? I mean, quite a lot, I imagine. I have no idea. Champions League draw in about 3 minutes. Who cares about the Champions League draw? We're only here for the Europa League this year. But next year, we'll be hearing that music. Imagine that Ten Hag playing back. The future's looking bright. And I'll tell you what, enjoy yourself. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the green. It's got a proper St. Patrick's vibe about it. Although it does look more like watercress than shamrocks around the edges. I've just realized that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Today, the video this afternoon will be an interview with me and Ben Jacobs, part 5 of our series. And it's going to be all about the Qatari delegation yesterday and what went on, and maybe a little bit of insight into what's going on with the Ineos delegation as well. The bids, when are they coming in? How much are they going to be for? Make sure you watch that interview with me and Ben. And my predicted 11 video for Fulham's going out tomorrow. Then we play on Sunday, and then we got 2 weeks off. But I'll be here Monday to Friday next week. As always, have a cracking weekend, everybody. Much love.